Nothing sends a shiver down the spine of the galaxy's fiercest warriors, quite like the arrival of humans. When the Zarathi first encountered them, they assumed it would be a simple extermination. After all, the Zarathi had encountered dozens of sentient species before and crushed each one without much resistance. But the humans? They were different. The Zarathi, like most galactic species, believed they were the most dominant force. They were ruthless, intelligent, and utterly unrelenting. Their strategy was simple: destroy first, ask no questions later. So when they stumbled across a human colony in the remote Nolar system, they did what they always did: send a strike team to wipe them out. The humans, of course, had no idea that the Zarathi existed. At that time, humanity had only colonized a few dozen planets, all in a quiet, out-of-the-way section of the galaxy. They didn't even know about other intelligent life forms. To them, space was still a vast, mostly empty frontier, filled with opportunity, but also danger. Then the Zarathi attacked. The strike team was led by a Zarathi commander, a towering beast with 6 limbs, nearly 4 meters tall, and armed to the teeth. The Zarathi had evolved as apex predators on their homeworld, feared even by the most dangerous animals in their ecosystem. They believed this made them unstoppable. When the Zarathi team arrived on Nolar 7, they immediately set about their usual strategy: destruction. The first human settlement they encountered was small, no more than a few dozen buildings scattered across a green, fertile plain. The Zarathi wasted no time. They activated their plasma flamers and began torching everything in sight. The first building was reduced to ash in seconds, and the humans inside barely had time to react. But when they reached the second structure, a larger, sturdier building, the Zarathi commander encountered his first surprise. As he reared up and unleashed a burst of plasma, the building didn't collapse. Instead, it withstood the flames, standing defiant against the Zarathi's brute force. This confused the commander. He reared back again, preparing another assault. But just as he was about to fire, his attention was caught by a human vehicle speeding away from the settlement. Without hesitation, he aimed his laser and fired, disabling the vehicle in a single shot. As the Zarathi approached the wreckage, they found something unexpected: a human family, huddled together in fear. There were 2 adults, a male and a female, and 2 juveniles, children barely old enough to understand the situation they were in. The Zarathi commander hesitated, only for a second, before raising his flamer to finish them off. And that's when everything changed. In the blink of an eye, the commander's arm, his entire arm, was severed. One moment, he was preparing to burn the humans alive, and the next, his limb was on the ground, smoldering. Confused, he backed away, letting out a screech of pain and anger. Standing between the Zarathi and the human family was another human, but this one was different. He was clad in full combat armor, sleek and dark, with a massive kinetic pistol in one hand and a sword, an actual sword, gleaming in the other. The Zarathi commander, enraged, raised his remaining arm and fired his laser directly at the human. But the human simply moved. No, he stepped out of the way, avoiding the shot with such speed that the commander barely registered the movement, and before the Zarathi could react, the human was upon him. What followed was not a battle, it was a slaughter. The human, armed only with his sword and pistol, tore through the Zarathi strike team like they were nothing. The commander's helmet cam captured the horrifying moment in real time. Blurs of movement, flashes of light, and the unmistakable sound of metal cutting through flesh. By the time the dust settled, only 3 Zarathi remained standing. They fled, limping back to their ship, leaving the burning wreckage of their comrades behind. But here's the kicker. That human wasn't even there to defend the colony. He was part of a rival faction's scout team. Yes, humanity wasn't united. They were at war with each other, constantly fighting for resources, territory, and dominance. This scout wasn't a protector. He was preparing to invade the very colony he had just defended. Yet, when the Zarathi threatened a human family, especially children, all bets were off. The Zarathi had made a fatal mistake. They hadn't just attacked humans, they had attacked human children. And if there's one thing that will unite humans, no matter their internal conflicts, it's the protection of their young. The scout didn't hesitate. He broke orders, revealed his presence, and fought back. Not for territory, not for glory, but because the Zarathi had crossed a line. When the remaining Zarathi fled back to their home system, They were in shock. They couldn't understand what had just happened. How could a species they knew nothing about, a species they had deemed primitive, be capable of such brutality? And more importantly, how could a small group of lightly armed humans defeat a fully equipped Zarathi strike team? The Zarathi Dominion sent an entire fleet to Nolar 7, determined to eliminate the human threat once and for all. They expected an easy victory. After all, they were technologically superior, more experienced in space warfare, and outnumbered the humans by a significant margin. But the humans were ready. By the time the Zarathi fleet arrived, the various human factions had put aside their differences and united against the alien invaders. And while human ships were less advanced in some ways, they had one key advantage: experience. Humans had been fighting each other in space for decades, perfecting their tactics, learning the intricacies of starship combat in ways the Zarathi couldn't even comprehend. The Zarathi fleet, confident in their strategy of brute force, was completely outmaneuvered. Human ships didn't charge in head first. They flanked, they coordinated, they used tactics the Zarathi had never seen. Within days, the Zarathi fleet was in retreat, fleeing back to their home system. But it didn't end there. Humanity, now aware of the existence of other intelligent life, turned their curiosity outward. They weren't just interested in defeating the Zarathi, they wanted to learn from them. Human researchers, diplomats, and soldiers spread across the galaxy, eager to understand the cultures and technologies of the species they had never known existed. The war with the Zarathi ended almost as quickly as it began. Humans, for all their brutality in battle, were more interested in knowledge than conquest. They established peace with the Zarathi, and soon other species in the galaxy began to take notice. The once unknown humans were now a force to be reckoned with, not because of their technology or their numbers, but because of their sheer adaptability, their capacity for learning, and their willingness to fight to the last breath when pushed. Today, humans are everywhere. They study the galaxy's species, they explore its farthest reaches, and for the most part, they coexist peacefully. But the lesson of Nolar 7 remains clear: never, ever underestimate a human. And if you value your life, never, under any circumstances, threaten a human child. Because while humans may be curious and complex, they are without question the deadliest species in the galaxy. And when they are pushed to their limits, there's no telling what they might do next.